Hello, my friend. Alas, I am sick. I ended up re-recording the audio because I was literally like, "What's up, guys? Welcome back to my channel." Now, it's a canon event that every January I get bedridden for a couple of days due to some kind of new magical illness. Not in November because we wouldn't want to catch any funky ass diseases by cannibalizing a turkey. Certainly not during the December holiday season because Santa would never bioterrorize my household. January hates me. But not gonna lie, when I'm tucked in bed like a sickly Victorian child, there was always this yearning to be outside. And yes, I do remember that I am an artist, and this is an art channel, so to soothe my yearning, I will be whipping out the good old field notes notebook like a squirrel, and people call me a field nuts. And with this, I will be sketching out this wonderful photo from a trip I took to Canada last year. So as always, I will start the drawing with the super bright blue pencil and just go at it. I'm gonna sound like a complete poser, but I've always romanticized the idea of being those outdoor nature scientists that would have sketches of whatever they were studying outside, like birds and mushrooms. But perhaps the main reason why I'm sick all the time is because I really didn't go outside very much as a kid. I came out of the womb a hermit, and I sure as hell remained a hermit. Well, 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 look who's here. My arch nemesis. Pretend this notebook is my face. This is how she greets me every morning, butt in face. She doesn't care if I'm suffocating, and if that doesn't wake me up, she will then smack the living daylight out of me and sing the song of her people just so I can feed her at 4 in the frickin' morning. At least she's consistent. So here I'm inking with my super thin ink pen, trying to create the shape that reads like a mountain. The goal here isn't to hyperfixate like crazy and get every detail down. I'm just not built like that. But at least I'm going to try to get down to simple shapes like the mountains and the illusions of the trees far away. And now I'm trying to draw in that lake and the river. Pretty sure the perspective is off, but we could just blame my cat for distracting me. A life lesson that any pet will show you is how to be in the moment. She is in the phase of her life where she just could not give a shit about anything around her. And I can't hate her for it. So now I'm trying to draw around my number one sabotager here. I'm adding in the foreground of the pine trees and the snow mountain, and then I'm just slowly adding in the rest of the background. More tree shapes here, more shadows there. It's really repetitive at this point, but I've honestly not drawn so many trees and mountains in one sketch. I do not usually go into a drawing know exactly how to draw things. I'm the kind of person that just learns as I go. You can kind of see me just getting a better hang of drawing in the snow-capped mountains and a barrage of trees the more I draw. If it wasn't for this reference photo here, I would have no idea what the absolute heck I was doing. Gonna slip this right out from under her. Here's the sketch so far. Dap up if you think this is a cool drawing. Thanks, girl. Okay, so she finally got up, except she rubbed her entire furry body up in the camera, so I'm just wiping it down here. Sorry about that. Sometimes the hardest part is knowing when to stop adding details because there is such thing as overdoing it, but at this point in time, I think it was definitely lacking in some areas, so I went in and added a bit more shading and added a little more detail. Oh crap, there's so many details. This is the part where I throw in a Hail Mary and hope some coloring can save this drawing. Gotta whip out our friend CaliArt here and hope for the best. I have this urge to always color in the sky first. Something about the white fluffy clouds that I just gotta get out of the way. Also, this blue is way too dark from what I'm going for, but with a 36 color set, we just don't really have much of a selection. Now the sky here looks like it sticks out like a sore thumb, but I'm hoping adding the rest of the colors will hopefully balance it out. Coloring those dark mountains. I'm trying to make the background dark, and the goal is to progressively make the colors lighter as we slowly work our way towards the middle and the foreground. Got out a little bit of purple to make the colors a bit more interesting. I learned a long time ago from a random artist, I don't really remember, but when you make the background either a lot lighter or darker than the rest of the drawing, it creates an illusion of atmospheric perspective. So I kind of wanted to make sure the mountains in the back felt far away. See, I can't stand everything turning out so dark, so just gonna do a little palette cleanser by getting started on the foreground. Like mentioned before, we're going to try to make this brighter. I do not know why I sound like I know what I'm talking about. I absolutely do not know what I'm talking about. I'm literally just whipping out random colors from the marker selection and I'm just hoping for the best here. I will say that the field note does do a decent job in taking markers, but note that it is not meant for markers. It will bleed right through the back of the page, but it will still keep the nice vibrancy of the marker colors intact and it won't bleed outside of your intended mark. I've also learned from my small humble years of markering, it's important to try to mix some colors in. So instead of like green for tree, blue for water, I try to add in some purple or brown for darker colors, and then the marker should be able to blend it in. When you put down a layer of color, I immediately try to put in the purple right after, just so the blending can happen while the marker is not completely dried up. Seeing that this is a smaller marker set, I don't really have an amount of shades of green or blue, so I try to give it more charm by using different colors completely for the shadows. And that, my friend, is how limitation breeds innovation. Just kidding. I learned that technique from staring at One Piece artworks. And thus, we continue until the page is done. Okay, I ran out of things to say, so can I just add a time lapse here? Alrighty, my friends, my sickly self has managed to finish the sketchbook page. As you can see, we have a total 101 copy of the original photo. And as I mentioned before, the marker does bleed through the field notes paper easily since I did use like 5 layers of markers. So use that information as you will when wanting to perform coloring activities upon your field note. So yeah, after drawing this, I think I just face planted back on my bed and went horizontal for the rest of the day. Who knew that drawing can be so mentally draining when one is sick? The yearning to touch grass sure did not end though. Now that's just about it for this video. I do eventually want to do a full Canada sketchbook session in the near future because the views I saw over at Banff National Park was just over the top gorgeous and I just don't want to waste the footage. I did whip out my phone multiple times to take a lot of these shots, so I just don't want it to go to waste and rot in my camera roll. With that said, I hope to see you guys in the next one. When the sickness isn't trying to kill me and I'm not coughing all over your headphones, I will have a new video ready. Keep drawing, and I wish you all an absolutely wonderful rest of your day. Bye!